Imagine you're sitting at your desk, laptop open, and you've just tried to run a video editing project that you've been planning for weeks. The render stalls, the timeline stutters, and you can hear the fan whining louder than usual. You know upgrading the RAM would smooth things out, but you also know that splurging on the wrong kit can end up being a waste of cash and time. That uneasy feeling of what if this isn't compatible is exactly why I wanted to break down the Samsung 64GB, 232GB, DDR5 5600MHz SODIMM kit before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of laptops this kit is built for. Samsung's DDR5 SODIMM modules are two 62-pin, 1.1V, Non-ECC, dual-rank sticks that follow the JEDEC DDR5 standard. In practice, that means you're looking at machines that officially support DDR5 at 5600MHz, typically higher-end ultrabooks, gaming laptops, or workstation notebooks released in the last year or so. If you have a mid-range laptop that still runs DDR4, this kit won't even slot in. So the first filter is compatibility. Check your laptop's service manual or the manufacturer's memory upgrade guide to confirm it lists DDR5 5600MHz as an option. Assuming you pass that hurdle, the real question becomes whether you actually need 64GB of RAM. For most everyday tasks, browsing, office work, streaming 8 to 16GB is more than enough. The sweet spot for heavy multitasking, large Photoshop files, 4K video editing, or running multiple virtual machines jumps to 32GB. If you regularly work with 8K footage or run AI inference models locally, the extra headroom of 64GB can prevent those dreaded out-of-memory crashes. In those scenarios, the Samsung kit shines because you get two 32GB sticks, which lets you fill both slots on a dual-channel laptop and keep the memory channel balanced. One practical strength of this Samsung kit is its high clock speed. At 5600MHz, you're getting one of the faster DDR5 configurations currently available for laptops. In real-world terms, that translates to slightly quicker data fetches when the CPU asks for large contiguous blocks, something you notice when loading massive project files or swapping large datasets in memory. It's not a magic bullet that will make a low-powered CPU suddenly feel like a desktop i9, but paired with a recent Intel Core i7 or AMD Ryzen 7 mobile processor, the extra bandwidth can shave seconds off compile times and keep the system responsive under load. Another advantage is Samsung's reputation for reliability. Samsung is one of the original DRAM manufacturers, and its chips tend to have tighter error margins. While the module is non-ECC, which means it won't correct errors on the fly, the underlying silicon quality reduces the chance of occasional bit flips that can cause crashes in memory-intensive workloads. If you're a developer or a content creator who can't afford random freezes, that background confidence is worth the premium. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The 1.1V operating voltage is lower than many older DDR4 sticks, which is good for battery life. The RAM itself isn't a huge power hog. However, the higher frequency can cause the laptop's power controller to work a bit harder, which might marginally affect overall battery endurance under sustained heavy loads. If you spend most of your day unplugged and you're already pushing the battery thin, you might see a few extra minutes of drain during long rendering sessions. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a nuance that often goes unnoticed in the spec sheet. Thermal considerations also come into play. DDR5 modules run hotter than DDR4 at the same capacity, and laptops with thin chassis sometimes struggle to dissipate that extra heat. In practice, users have reported that when the system is under continuous load, say, a 30-minute 4K render, the RAM temperature can climb into the high 80s Celsius range. Most modern laptops have thermal throttling safeguards, but sustained heat can lead to throttling of the CPU or GPU sooner than you'd expect. If your laptop's cooling solution is already modest, you may want to keep an eye on temperatures with a monitoring tool and consider a cooling pad. Who should hit the buy button? If you own a laptop that officially supports DDR5 5600MHz, you have a dual-channel slot layout, and your workflow regularly touches 30 GB of RAM or more. Think 3D modeling, large-scale data analysis, or professional video editing. This Samsung 64GB kit is a logical upgrade. It gives you the maximum memory capacity currently offered for most consumer laptops, and the high speed ensures you're not bottlenecked by the memory bus. The kit is also a good fit for gamers who want to future-proof their system for upcoming titles that start to push beyond the 16 GB norm, especially if you also run streaming software alongside the game. On the flip side, if your laptop is a thin and light model designed for web browsing, office tasks, and occasional media consumption, you'll likely never tap into the extra capacity. In that case, a 16GB or 32GB DDR5 kit would be more cost-effective, and you could redirect the saved money toward a better